Hello, book club, hosted by Heather Skinner. Welcome to this exciting bonus interview where we get to catch up with two fabulous authors we have featured previously while we chat about current trends in the book world. Beth Worsdell and Josephine Wrightson, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Hi.
We appreciate being invited. Oh, there she is. Hello, Gemma.
She popped right up. She wanted to start off. I know she likes to start with the first question or thing to talk about. And she's got something going on right now, a project that's kind of like a classic trend in the book world for kids that they do in schools. So who do you want to show us is here with us today, too?
Flat Stanley.
Oh, bye.
And Flat Stella.
Yeah, where did we get Flat Stanley from?
So this is Flat Stanley is from my cousin Elijah.
Yeah,
right.
School sent it to us, so we have him for about a week.
And Stella, we printed out, I colored.
And you're going to send Flat Stanley back with Flat Stella as a surprise, so that's exciting.
Have you guys ever heard of Flat Stanley?
I have heard of Flat Stanley, yes. Don't know in what context too, because Flat Stanley is not really done in our schools. But I'm sure I've come across him when the girls have been reading at some point or other. It rings a bell anyway.
I must admit, I haven't heard of him.
No.
And I'm going to really show my age right now, because when I was a little one, like you, Gemma, when I was in sort of, early school, it was still Dick and Jane.
Yeah, she loves Dick and Jane.
I love it.
She learned to read with Dick and Jane.
Yeah,
they're still around. Oh, she went right to it. She knows right where it is on the bookshelf.
There we go. When I was at school, we used to read Dick and Jane, and I absolutely loved them.
Yeah, we love them too.
We have 2 books already.
That's right. We found as many as we could. We love them.
Oh, see, that's fantastic. I love it. The classics are the best.
They are.
They are.
So with Flat Stanley, what this is,
He's a boy who overnight he was sleeping. His wooden board fell on him overnight, and then his parents lifted it off of him, and he survived it.
And he was flat as a pancake in the morning, right? Flat as a pancake.
And then after he ate breakfast, his mother brought him to the doctor.
That's right.
Because he was flat as a pancake.
So Flat Stanley goes on all these adventures. He can fit in an envelope and go through the mail and visit friends, and he can do so many things. So her cousin Elijah colored this Flat Stanley and sent him along.
Wrote his name on the
So
back.
for his project, we take pictures with him for a week. Yeah, he wrote his name. I know it's hard with the light, huh? And then we send it back and tell all about the adventures he had for the week while he was visiting. And that's part of their class looks it over.
No, darling.
And instead of typing in, we made a book.
Yeah, we made a little booklet of our adventures. Actually, should we add this to his adventures? Do you think we should take a quick picture?
Yeah.
He helps us with the interview. What do you think?
That's a great idea.
You ready?
It is.
All right, let me see. I should be able to just do this on the computer. You ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I think I got it. All right.
We do something very similar.
Is it like kind of like Flat Stanley? You do a project?
Yeah, we have it's a teddy with a certain name. I've forgotten his name now, but you bring a book home and then you write in the book what you've done. You provide pictures, photographs, colour. You put in whatever you've done with him, and then take him back. And then it goes on to the next child, and then they can see what you've done with him as well.
We take pictures, print them out, and then tape them into the book.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, we've done that as well.
Yeah.
And pictures of the teddy bear in different situations, like at the beach or sat in the car with a seatbelt on with Rebecca, things like that.
Yeah. I think it's such a great idea. It's a project. It's very near and dear to my heart. I love it. This is the second one we've gotten to do for our cousin, so it's really cool. They are a part of something that's kind of like, I think, an adult version of Flat Stanley. So yeah, like Beth and Josephine, they have something called the Sisterhood of Traveling Books. Would you like to talk and tell Gemma about that? Because I feel like that's kind of adult Flat Stanley. Your books are traveling.
Well, I have to give all credit to Josephine because it was Josephine's idea, and when she told me about it, I was so excited. But I'll let Josephine explain it, because it was her brainchild.
Basically, I just thought everybody likes mail. No matter what age you are, it's nice to get parcels and mail. And a lot of my readers like an actual book as well. And I thought, well, rather than keep sending ebooks out, why not send an actual book and then compile a list of people that would like to join in, and therefore they post it on to the next one, and so forth. And yeah, so far it seems to be going very well. I've kept tabs on it. Everybody the second or the third read. Mine's bringing its way to the USA, and I think it's going to Texas. I'm not 100% sure on that off the top of my head. Beth is on its way back to me, so I can post it back to the US. Stephanie's is on its way from Devon here up to Nottinghamshire. And Sarah Louise's is in, somewhere in the US, on its way to somewhere else in the US.
US.
I think it's so exciting what you ladies are doing. So like their books are going to readers over and over, and then are they signing their names in it, or what were they doing? Are they writing their reviews inside, or
they're writing a review on either Goodreads or Amazon, but also they're actually putting a note in, or they're supposed to. One lady has forgotten, so she's going to send it me so I can stick it in. But I posted mine with the reviews still in it, the little notes. I haven't kept them here. I've passed them on so the next lady in turn can read them in the US. Hopefully by the time the book gets back to me, it will have quite a few notes in it.
I think that's so exciting. I think that's so cool.
We've had such amazing positive feedback from it as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's been a very, very good way of readers getting to know each other, as well as us as authors, and reading something new and different. So it's been really, really great. I do have to be honest, poor Josephine has been doing so much with regards to the event. Obviously with me moving and having so much building work done, and lack of Wi-Fi and electricity keep being turned off, it's been interesting to say the least. But Josephine has been absolutely fantastic. She really, really has. She's been so on it. And so far, everybody seems to be really enjoying it, which is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really good. And also, my readers that I've suggested have read, or I've said, are you interested in joining in, that have also now become friends and are on Beth's lists and Stephanie's and Sarah's as well, when they get around to reading Sarah's. And Sarah's has come longer, so that's only on its second read now, whereas I think mine's on its way to its third. But then again, mine's I had only to go up the street, first one.
So I was thinking from that, maybe we can be one of them.
Oh, I know, right? I've been so excited. I need to sign up because I've already read a couple of the books here that are circulating. But yeah, Stephanie Nietzsche and Sarah Louisa, I haven't read their books yet. I would love to take part. I think this is so cool. Do you plan to cycle out other books that you've all written in this too, or just keep this going?
Eventually, at the moment we're waiting. I've added people onto my list already. So if anybody else does want to join in, just find us on the Sisterhood of the Travelling Books on Facebook and just comment. I have fitted in extras on mine after the initial list. Just because the list has been drawn up doesn't mean it can't alter.
Yeah. And excuse me. And it would be nice to keep it going, if not do it an annual event. Either way, I think Josephine and I would both like to sort of, keep it going in some way, because it's just been so much fun. It's been brilliant. It really has.
It's nice. It's lovely. The best book which is travelling back to me at the moment is probably stuck in limbo somewhere, with it being Easter weekend and everybody's off.
Yeah, holiday weekend and everything. So I think what you're doing is wonderful. And I'm going to make sure in the description of this video, I'll include the link for your Facebook page for the traveling books. So that way people can check it out if this is their first time hearing about it, because I think it's so cool. I have had new members come in since both of your features. If you wanted to just mention the books that you've written, what you have available, a little bit about yourself, so new members get to know who you are too and learn about your books.
Fair play, fair play. Well, I'm Beth Worsdell. I'm an author of science fiction and fantasy, and soon to be women's fiction as well. I haven't got as many books published as Josephine because she's freaking awesome. But I do have the Earth Angels trilogy out, which is available in adult and young adult editions, which has been going really, really well. And I'm writing a new book at the moment, which I'm super excited about. And it's called, she's giggling already, look, because she's read some of the chapters.
Oh!
But it's going to be called Domestic Goddess to Dominatrix. And it's going to be a real comedy, women's fiction book, sort of Bridget Jones's Diary meets Sex and the City meets reverse 50 Shades of Grey sort of thing. So I'm having a blast writing it, honestly. I literally just crack myself up as I'm writing at the moment. I'm super excited.
That is something one of our members, Bonnie Jean Yepson Weinman, she wanted to know if either of you have new books coming out. And then on that, are you still looking at writing children's books too, Beth? Is that something you're working on at the same time too?
Yes, yeah. I've written 5 books in my Jinx series, which I'm super excited about. And I've also written 3 in my Doodle series, which is for younger children. But they're all on hold at the moment because I had this book idea and I spoke to a literary agent about it, and he's super excited to actually read it. So I'm like, okay, I need to get this done. And you know, while he's interested in the story. So I've sort of put the children's books aside for now to focus on this one, and then once this one's being looked at and everything's going through, hopefully, then I'll carry on with the children's books. But I think nowadays the sky's the limit. You don't have to stick to one genre now or one age group. So many authors, especially well-known authors, you know, like Nora Roberts, for example, you know, they go from different genres to different age groups, and there's no limit now to what you can do.
It's a good point, and that's true. And I love that too, to see the diverse work of authors. Josephine, did you want to give your introduction and tell us what you've got in the hopper as well?
Well, I'm Josephine Wrightson, and like Beth says, I have actually 13 books published, but I have been this last year, it feels like a very long year as well, been re-editing them all. I'm now on number 11, which I've finished just. I've just got to run it through the desktop and listen to it to make sure it flows better, and then that will be available in the new form. They're all on KU now as well. I've been trying KU out, so as I've re-edited them, I've put them on KU. I do have lots of work waiting. At least 3 of my series have others to come, other stories that I've started, but not unlike Beth and the children's books, I've left everything on hold while I re-edited them. But I do feel that I've learned a lot, and they are getting better. They're not 100%. You can't please everybody all the time anyway.
Yeah, so true.
But no, I'm happy with what I've done so far. May need to go back eventually and do the initial first 3, 4 that I did, because now at the end of it, having done 11, I can see the difference yet again. It's practice, like with everything. The more you do, the more you realize what you're doing wrong and how to correct it. But I do it all myself. I have a brilliant lady who does my covers and formats them for me, but everything else I pretty much do, with the help of some other great ladies.
It's amazing though, because Josephine and I have discussed this at length. When you first start writing books, you're trying to learn everything, but by the time you've by the time you've written your second book and your third book and fourth book and so on and so on, every with every book you're learning something new, and then it gets to the point where you've learned so much and you've developed your own style and the way you want to come across so much, you've got no choice but to go back and go through your first books, because that you can do them better. And that's not a negative thing in any way.
No.
It's fantastic, because you always want to improve, you always want to hone your craft, you always want to do your best for the reader. And I think it's made a massive difference. I know, Josephine, you've seen a massive difference, haven't you, in the amount of reviews you get and how good the reviews are. And exactly the same with me. When I broke my ankles, I used that time to go over my books and edit them and make them sharper, and I saw a difference in the reviews as well. So it's worthwhile doing. It's not it's a very positive thing to do.
It is.
I mean, it's been a long year, but it has been worth it. And now I've learned more. When I do the next ones, hopefully they will be better in a shorter period of time, rather than flogging it. So, but no, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you are talking about, what you're both doing right now, it's like is another trend in the book world. I think now that more authors are on social media, that now just the readers see it more. But I think this is something that's been going on for a long time. I think a lot of authors actually do go back and they re-edit and they change things. Like Beth's cover, I have an older version now. You've recently updated your cover to book 1, which I've noticed. Our current book that I'm featuring this month, Canvas Hearts, by Emily Morheim, she redid her cover. It used to be called a different thing. It had a different cover on the front for a picture. And that got a recent update. I think it's actually kind of cool to be able to see books evolve like in real time on social media. And it is a positive thing, like you said, the re-editing, the changing it up, because times change all the time. And I think you're also finding new audiences as you go. Do you see any other benefits to that as well? Like just for marketing in general? That's something I'm going to bring up a lot, because Mary Waldering submitted that as a question. She wanted to know more about like marketing advice when you still haven't found a target audience. And I think a lot of stuff we're talking about today is going to fit into answering that question, like with updating covers. And do you think that makes a big impact with re-editing and updating things like that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, as Josephine will agree, that the book trends change from year to year. They really, really do. And sometimes, you can have one book hit the market, for example, the Divergent series. When the Divergent series was released, that style of cover set a whole new trend. That first book set a whole new trend on young adult fantasy book covers. Same as Harry Potter, Twilight, all these massively popular books set a new trend on style and how to come across to that specific market. And if you get your book cover wrong, you're not going to succeed, because it needs to fit in with the genre that you're writing for. It also needs to be modern and in keeping with what is current and what people are looking for. Because if you're not on trend and it's not in keeping with your genre, you're not going to stand out. You're not going to get noticed. People will just scroll past you. And when you think about it logically, whenever somebody's shopping for a book now, even if they have plans to go to a bookstore, 9 times out of 10, they will look for it online first. So that means they're scanning on their phone, they're scanning on their iPad or their computer. So you want something that's going to stand out. Yeah, you want something that's going to stand out on a screen. You want something that's going to pop. That they're going to. Sorry, that's a picture of my husband there. That's something that's going to I love him, not you? But you want something that's going to jump from that screen and attract that reader's attention. So, you know, having the right book cover is so important, because that's first.
But that is one thing I haven't changed with mine, the book covers.
But then yours,
again,
yours are
put
still,
a lot of effort in. Yeah,
yours are stunning, and they fit your genre perfectly. Yeah. So I understand why you've kept them the same, because they haven't, you know, some covers will not go out of trend.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But with other
but my target market is still the same as well. I'm not trying to delve. Young adults tend to have a changing view, life changes, things change. But when you get to be a little bit older, the trends are there, but they slow down a little bit.
Yeah, well, the older people tend to know what they like.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference. But also, you know, as I said, you know, just having the wrong colours in your book cover can upset your target market, because, you know, if you're writing books that are primarily for women, and you've got your color scheme of your book cover and it's like browns and oranges and, you know, more masculine colors, you're alienating your target market, because most women aren't attracted to very masculine colors. So you have to think of all of these things. Having the wrong font, you know, there are old-fashioned fonts that aren't attractive to the younger generation. So you can understand why huge publishing companies spend millions on researching what we like.
My target market's not altered though either. It is still what it was from the beginning. I knew what it was. There was no fluffing and fussing and what am I gonna, I knew immediately what I wanted and what I wanted to achieve, and knowing my own target market from the start meant that my covers were as good as I wanted them to be from the start. But I didn't just go by my own opinion. I have a great cover designer, but I also say, I'll say to my husband as well, what do you think of that? But I'll ask other people just a little bit before the final one, because too many cooks spoil the broth as well. But I will just chuck it out there as well for 2 or 3 just to see what they think too.
Yeah. And for new authors, I think it's important as they're writing their story, I think it's very important to not only connect with their target market, but also ask their target market what they would like. You know, I mean, in the past, you know, I've come up with book ideas and I've created mock-ups and of 2 or 3, and I've said to, you know, my followers, what do you think? Which one do you like the best? Which one appeals to you? And got their feedback, because you can't get better feedback than asking the people who hopefully are going to buy it later on.
And then you're more invested too. Like, you feel like a part of the process. And I think, like,
I have a Heather as well, Heather.
Us Heathers were awesome. You know,
well, you wanted to be in one. I've written you in, but obviously it's one of the ones that are waiting. I had in the past I've used a post and asked people for names, give a little brief description of what I want, and I've used the names. But again, that it's your target market again, and they're as you say, they're investing in the books. But also recently I asked who wanted to be in a book, and I think there's 3 or 4 ladies that have I've put them all in, and I've got something specific in mind, because they're ones that I've got to know as well, specific in mind for each one, and I've written it as well. So I did it there and then, just a few paragraphs for each one, but yeah, they're just sat waiting, but I have them all.
That's brilliant, though. I think that's another good way to, like, include your readers and get them excited about something.
That's what it's all about.
And you did that in a spotlight takeover, right? I think I remember seeing that in. And it's so easy to be able to do that and they see you. Yeah. I love it. And I wanted to talk about something.
I have to wait and see what you're going to do.
I know, right? I'm excited. I can't wait. And you're re-editing so fast too, so I don't want to pressure you, but I just can't wait. So something Beth said before too about like scrolling past when people are looking. I'm noticing when I scroll on Facebook, for me personally, it like hits me in the face, but I think this is the trend now that people like. It's just videos and GIFs and everything's moving. What are your thoughts on this for like the book world? Like, do you think it's good to have all those moving videos to catch the eyes of your readers when they're scrolling through their social media?
I'm not sure.
Sure. Vote's still out on this
one. I think they are a great tool, but some of the ones, if the initial scene is not something that grips me, I won't even watch the rest. I have to admit, I scroll past. And as you say, at the moment, it's every other one is video. I'm tending to watch the ones that I know, watch the ones that hit me straight away. But there's an awful lot that I'm just scrolling past, unfortunately, and I shouldn't admit to that, but it is.
No, it's good to be honest. That's what we're chatting about, like what really is working out there and what's not.
Me,
it's such a
big good cover that hits you.
That's a good point too, because like when somebody's looking at a book they want to read, they're going to check a blurb or a first page or whatever it is they go to, and if that doesn't get them, they're done. So I mean, that's a good point. That's the same thing with a video that you're scrolling by. It's got to be right away.
I mean, some of them look like they've taken 2 minutes to put together as well. You've got to think about it. You've got to know. You've got to have a little bit of an eye. There are some fantastic ones out there, and I have seen some fantastic ones, but there's a lot that they're getting scrolled by. People are not getting the views. They're just not grabbing you. They're just, I think there's too many, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what Beth thinks about it.
I think there's, I mean, that videos now are a massive thing, and I think it's going to become the norm, especially, you know, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you know, all YouTube, all these different sites. So videos are always going to be hugely popular. But just like your book cover, you've got to have something that is your first impression. And as Josephine says, you know, and you said you've got to have something that grips you within the first 3 seconds.
Same as music as well.
Exactly. If you know what it's like, you know, you can tell if a song's going to be really, really good by those first notes, and it just grabs your attention. And that's the same with a post, no matter whether it's a video or a photograph. It has to be something visual, something gripping, or, you know, even you take movie trailers, for example. You know, and I use this a lot when I'm working with Mark Gottlieb, and we're talking about, you know, hooks and pitches. That first sentence has got to be, I'm going to grab you, as well as the imagery. So, you know, you have to put a lot of thought into it. I mean, I use very short videos all of the time to help promote my books, but also to promote the Witty Writers Show as well. If I'm, you know, if I've got an author on, or I've got Mark coming on the show, it's a great way of grabbing people's attention. But you also have to remember to have all the rest of the information as well. The link to buy the book or to go to the event, the keywords related to that book or the event, the hashtags, so that it pops up when people search for that phrase. You know, there's lots to it. Mark, you know, as an author, and Josephine, I'm sure, will agree, you know, more than half of your job is marketing yourself and promoting yourself,
which is the hardest job as well,
and then squeezing in the writing and editing.
That's easy.
Do you know what I mean? So there is a lot of thought process into it. You know, thinking about upcoming events that you can associate with your book or your event. But yeah, first impressions are super important. So if you're going to do it, you have to put practice in and learn how to do it well.
Yeah, it's good advice. And like you mentioned trailers too, that's another trend I've been noticing, like book trailers. And it's also got me thinking, like, audiobooks are big. People want to hear the book. People want to see the trailer for it. And then even more books now I see are coming out, like Valerie Taylor. She has a playlist with her book, like a suggested playlist. And even in the most recent Stephen Manchester book I read, Lawn Darts and Lemonade, there are so many 80s songs listed in there, and it made me want to stop and listen to them. I'm like, I forgot about this song. That's such a cool thing. So like, I feel like books are kind of turning into like printed movies. Like, what do you think about these trends? It's almost like books already have one foot in the door of being a movie.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea because, you know, I've worked with clients and I've sort of guided them on how to get a book trailer and everything else, because, you know, when I did my own, before it started to become like super trendy, people would message and go, "Oh my God, I honestly thought this was a movie." But I love books, so I'm really, really excited to read it now. So I already knew what a positive step it could, you know, and opportunities it could create. Sarah Louise's book trailer was fantastic. It really was, and it looked like a movie trailer, but it was for her book. But it's a great way to introduce your book with a great hook, a bit of a description, you know, flash your biggest reviews on there, and then, you know, give them the information to buy. It's a great way to market your books, I have to say.
What do you think, Josephine?
Yeah, it's good. And the playlists and everything else, I actually listen to music while I'm writing. I use the headphones. I actually, some of my playlists I've named so I know which one is for which book. So yeah, it's all relevant, and it's all, yeah. Books are so much more than just books these days.
Yeah.
They are. And I feel like just the way we look at them, like with all these things combined, I've been noticing like they're definitely kind of in a different direction. And I don't know exactly where it's going yet, but it really does feel like we're just holding these little printed movies in our hand now. Because it's already like that. You know, you're watching it in your head, however you envision when you read, but to see them actually take these external next steps, I'm finding very fascinating. So I'm really curious to see how it'll progress, like in that direction.
I think sometimes we have to be careful with saying it's a movie and sort of picking your characters, because the whole point of a book and words is it's all in our mind and it's tailored individually to each and every one of us. So I think you have to be quite subtle with what you're portraying from your book. On a lot of my covers, I tend not to put, most of them anyway, I have on some, try not to put a face on deliberately, because that's for the readers to develop in their own minds as they read the book.
Yeah,
I don't want to give them an image that sticks, because I don't know what they like. They like them sky blue, pink with curly hair.
It's a good point too, because even with Beth's book, I remember talking after reading, like I wasn't the only one. We pictured like some of the aliens totally differently than you described them, and your brain just can't help it. Like when you're reading something, like it becomes what it means to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So more of my
cameos and videos and how that's fitting into the book world. The first time I heard about these was actually from Josephine's post. She got an amazing video message from somebody that's famous that she admires. Now that was on, now is it Memo? Am I pronouncing that one? You know this?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but yes, that's what it looks like to me.
Right? Yeah, like Memo, I'm not sure.
Memo,
but that one, and then I found like it's other, like Cameo does this as well. So you can message like authors and stars and, you know, actors and just all kinds of like professionals and creators. After finding this with Joseph, I'm hooked. Like when you posted yours, she got such an amazing, wonderful, inspirational message as a gift from somebody. And then I'm like, I didn't know this was happening. This is amazing for like everybody. So now I'm like, I follow it. So Gemma got one for Christmas too. And she learned something really cool she wanted to share with you guys from it.
Wow.
You want to go ahead? She is into magic. So she got a message from a famous magician. We'll talk about it after. Yeah. So what do you think? I'm going to use my notebook as a table so you guys can see the whole way through. Oh, and she's putting on the hat. She's ready.
Love it.
So what do you think? Do you want to ask them?
So pick a number between 2 and 10.
Okay.
Pick a number.
A number between 2 and 10. Any number you want to pick.
Do we have to tell you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. We got to tell them when they say things, right? That's true. Part of the flair.
Yeah, and you have to say it out loud.
Yep.
3.
She said 3. Ready? So I'll use this as a table, this notebook.
1, 2, 3. Now, count down 3. And I will
Okay.
not look.
So, yep, Gemma's going to turn away, and I'm going to count
I
out
cannot
3.
see a thing.
1, 2, 3. What do you want me to do next?
Show them the card.
You're behind the hat. All right, I'm going to show you the card.
Brilliant.
All right, can you guys see it?
Yeah, got it.
All right. What would you like me to do next?
Put it anywhere in the deck.
Okay, and then what?
Put the other cards anywhere in the deck too.
Okay. All right, we're going to just put that all in the deck,
Now I will shuffle it.
and now you're going to shuffle it, okay?
I barely know how to shuffle, so this
That makes
might not
sense.
look good. So it might not look like shuffling. I don't know trick shuffle or normal shuffle, so it might look like
All right. What's next?
not done shuffling.
You're not done shuffling. It's a big shuffle.
Well, it's a
That's
big
awesome.
trick. She's better at shuffling than I am, I've got to tell you.
We actually have a shuffler, like the little machine you can put it in because
Yeah,
I'm
but
terrible
these
at
cards
it.
are too big. But these cards are too big in a stack.
That is a
Well,
big shuffle.
She's doing a great job there.
Got it. Okay, what's next? Done shuffling.
No,
No, not the card.
Is this your card?
no.
Still not the card. So you know what? I think it's funny. I've got a video coming in. Let me share my screen and look at this video. Let me see if I can share it. Oh, there. Yep. Okay. Can you guys see the video?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, let's see.
Oh.
You're a lucky young girl.
The guy next to me, he does magic too. He doesn't talk that much. Anyway, I have a good friend, Gemma. And Gemma had you pick a card at random. She did that perfectly. Pick a card at random, easy. You remembered it. That's really good. And then Gemma tried to find the card, and she couldn't. She tried again, and she couldn't. So Gemma called her old buddy Penn in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I got one question for you, and that is this your card? Because Gemma did not make a mistake. She
It's brilliant, Gemma.
and she trick by Beth and my dear, dear partner, Gemma. We're Penn and Gemma. Thanks. Yeah. Peace.
That is fantastic.
That's so cool.
That was awesome.
And yeah.
You were fantastic. You were just as good as Penn.
Yes, very much so.
Look at that. She's
It's been about.
Look at that style.
She's got it.
She has, isn't she?
Oh, thank you so much for
These
chatting with Gemma, and we're gonna get on to the rest of the interview. Sites like Cameo and Memo or Memo. I'm never gonna know if I'm saying it right, but where you can interact with creators and stars, like actors. I'm wondering if this is a really cool avenue because it's like so many opportunities. Like, do you think writers might even use this to say, "Oh, I picture you as this person in my book. I can send you a message and have you say something back, and I can watch your mannerisms, and I can use this." Like, I feel like there's so many possibilities, or more. I feel like there aren't a lot of authors on these sites, which I find interesting because I mean, authors are my stars, you know, like I would want to go on there and be like, yeah, I would totally get a message from this author for a gift. This is so cool. Another way to like interact and be a part of the reader's world. So do you think that's a trend where more authors will be getting on that to put themselves on to give these video messages or, you know, interact in other ways for authors and readers?
I don't think there's any reason why they don't and shouldn't. I just think it's something that's not been thought of yet because it's actors, and there are other people on there. They're not all actors. There's sports stars. But usually it's somebody in the media or TV or something like that. Maybe authors just haven't caught up with it yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been curious. I mean, there's even like animal actors you can get movies from. I've noted, or little videos from. There's singers, there's TikTok stars, YouTube stars. Like there's just all kinds of creators. But I feel like that's weird to me that there aren't a lot of authors that I noticed, because I try to search authors on there and I'm like, where is everybody? I think this would be so cool. So I mean,
maybe it's not an avenue they've found yet. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think you guys, you're forgetting one thing. Many authors are real introverts.
Mm-hmm.
And they love being, you know, working away from everybody, being in their office, typing away, and you know, and keeping to themselves.
And being busy.
Yeah, it's being busy. Yeah. So you know, I think it's very, very different, because when you think about the people that are on these sites, they are TV presenters, actors, singers, impersonators, creators. These are all people who love being in the spotlight, love being in front of the camera, love interacting with other people, love working with other people. Writers are a whole different breed.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of authors that I've interviewed on the Witty Writers Show over the last couple of years, and most of them are super shy, very introverted, which is half the reason why I do a pre-chat before we go live, so I can, you know, chat to them, get rid of any nerves they have, get them laughing and giggling so they're all relaxed, and then they'll have fun. But for most writers, they find it very difficult.
Especially those that write under a pseudonym.
Exactly. You know, I think people, you know, authors like us three and Autumn Bardot and Stephanie Nietzsche and Terza, we are a very small percentage of authors who will happily interact with people. But I'm sure, you know, there's, you know, vast numbers of authors out there who are like us that might not have discovered this yet. So who knows?
It's true.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Do you think it might even help introvert authors who don't want to do like school visits, or like do like the big visits where they could do like a short video response to somebody, like it, you know? Do you think that might eventually help the introverts, like knowing that it's a small dose, like when it comes in?
Quite possibly. And it's interesting because I don't know whether you've heard about this, but in Ireland, they're doing holograms of dead authors. And they're actually, it's a fantastic technology. Somebody records themselves, you know, talking about the book and the characters and everything else. And then they'll change the image of the person to that dead author. So it's almost like the author's coming back from the dead to tell them all about their book and everything else. And the kids get to ask questions and interact. I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
I had not heard of that. Yeah.
I heard it completely by fluke on Sky News when I was doing the school run. But it is fantastic. But also, one of the main differences that I can see between Mimo and Cameo is that Cameo actually offer live video calls with celebrities and you know, people. I thought that was fantastic. You know, but it's another way of interacting with people that you wouldn't normally be able to get to reach. And I think after having the pandemic for a couple of years, things like this are invaluable, because it means that all these celebrities and creators are able to keep interacting with the people, even though they're, you know, in lockdown, or they can't travel because of lockdown or whatever. It's opened a lot of doors now. It really, really has.
Yeah. That's a good point. I also wanted to ask you guys what you think you want to see emerge next as new trends in the book world, or something you've noticed that maybe we haven't brought up today. What are your thoughts on book world trends currently in the world? And
that's a good question.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
I don't know. pure and simply. I mean, I've been on Facebook, but I've spent a lot more time off of it, almost done, and editing, so I've not really seen what the trends are as such. I know in the women's fiction, reverse horroring is still quite high. I see a lot of that coming through. But other than that, I've got the best better answer that one.
Do you know, it's one of those things within the book industry, you never quite know what's going to happen. You really don't, because, you know, nobody could grasp how huge Harry Potter was and the whole franchise. Nobody could grasp that. You know, obviously, you know, when J.K. Rowling was signed and everything else, they believed in the story and they hoped it was going to do well. But I don't think anybody could have predicted how well, you know, with movies and theme parks and, I mean, merchandise. Wow. So you never quite know, you know, there's no predicting people's responses. You hope that, you know, things are going to do well, but you never know at what level. Audiobooks are going to keep increasing, I think. I don't think audiobooks are ever going to go away. I think people who are into audiobooks are very big advocates for it, especially because they love hearing books when they're driving to work, sat on a train, in the bath, doing their ironing. You know, it's a massive thing. I'm hoping that it will be more accessible to more people as authors. I think, you know, I really, really hope that technology moves on so where it's easier for us to do it from home, so we're not having to pay out a fortune to pay somebody.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's the expense, isn't it? It's being used, but it is still quite expensive to get it done originally in the first place.
That's true. And the equipment too must just really cost a lot of money to have like really good microphones and recording.
You would have thought so. However, I did interview one of my authors a while ago, and I'm just trying to think who it was. Glenn Dahlgren. He actually recorded his in his closet because the clothes hanging around him soundproofed the room, and he did it all on his on his iPad with GarageBand. So there are ways and means that you can do without spending a fortune. And let's face it, technology has moved on so far now that the microphones in Apple products, I'm a big Apple fan, I've got to be honest. But, you know, the microphones now in these new laptops and phones and, you know, devices are so good. You know, you can do it yourself nowadays. It's just making sure that you've got that quietness around you. And there are things, you know, is that ACM or AXM? I'm having a brain moment. The audiobook company, the main one, they actually do things like royalty share and things like that, which
I've seen that.
Yeah, they do help authors. So, you know, you can do it, no upfront cost, but you have to give a share of your royalties, a piece to you know, the audio company, and then a royalty piece to the actual actor. But in my mind, that's actually not a bad deal, because you've then got three parties who are invested in making that a success.
You would hope.
Promoting it and getting it out there and everything else. So there are ways around it, but yeah, the book industry is so fluid. It's just like the movie industry. It's so fluid. You never know what's going to be big, what's not going to be, you know, what's going to fade out. There's no way of knowing, especially when you compare it to apps and sites that have come and gone. I mean, I remember my kids all being into that app called Vine, which is, to me, exactly the same as what TikTok is. You know, they would record these short videos, upload it. Yeah, I'm a Vine star. It's great. It's great. Within 2 years, it was gone and nobody even talks about it anymore. So you just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, I think that's half the reason it's so exciting though, because you really know you never know what you'll wake up to the next day for a new trend and a new story, and I think that's kind of fun. So that is a good thing. We can't always predict, I think.
Exactly. Life would be boring.
Yeah. I think a quick little external trend, like out from the computers, that I'm seeing is, I think they're called little free libraries. They're like little library mailboxes. And I've been seeing Stephanie Nietzsche post about them a lot. She seems to be finding them everywhere. I think it's so cool. Have either of you come across those, or also think that's a fun way for readers and authors even to interact by leaving
I have seen them, but not here. Where I previously lived, they were in a village away from there, because we are out in the sticks. The mobile library was a bit hit and miss, so they had, it was like a little tiny shed, a bit bigger than Stephanie's birdhouse one, and it was a free, you just put your books in and fetch them out whenever. It is a good idea. Yeah, I have seen that, and they're brilliant. Not that I've put mine in it. I think I have to be careful with mine because mine are 18 plus.
Oh, that's a good point too. That's awesome. You're being
I wouldn't
thoughtful
put them in it,
so like a little kid doesn't take it.
I wouldn't do that unless I could guarantee the right age group was taking it.
I think that's really cool that you're being mindful of that. Like, I don't know, my first thought, like, no matter what I wrote, I'd be like, yay, here, read this. I'm going to put this in here. So I think that's really cool that you're thinking like that, in terms of that. I think that's really great.
Yeah, for me, it's a bit of second nature, really, with being a publican before this and doing all the 18 stuff and all the drugs and everything else, and seeing it and knowing. And being also having letting rooms in them, and again, the stories that make your hair curl. But anyway, I'm always aware of what I'm writing and what my audience is, and who shouldn't be reading it. It's just the way I am. It's just how I've always been. Same as with the travelling books. The ladies are fine with us having their addresses, but I've been very careful with them. It's not just a list of addresses, it's one person, one address, post it off. One person, one address, post it off. I'm getting them all individually. I'm keeping them safe. I'm not sharing them where I shouldn't. Yeah, it's just what you should do. You should be mindful of other people, and the world is a very strange place at times.
True.
Including us, but anyway.
Yeah, I think authors being strange is a fun thing, though. We all have to be a little bit out there, I think.
Yeah,
so
the only one
don't take on things. Yeah. What do you think about the free little libraries, Beth?
I think they're fantastic. I've seen a number of them, not only here but in the UK when I was visiting, actually, and I was visiting my family up north. I think they're great. I really, really do. It's one of those things, you put your books in and you hope that people will, read them and then put them back in, but you can't always guarantee it. So, if you can afford to do it, they're a really, really great idea. They really, really are. They're fantastic. And I love the fact that, especially in smaller towns and villages, it's a great way to talk, to read something same as somebody else and actually be able to talk about it, so I think they're brilliant, and I think they're great for kids as well. I've seen so many.
I don't need one. I just sit on the front and give mine out.
I wish I could be like a fly on the wall today, watching somebody walk by your house one day with you out there like, hey, you want a book? Like,
well, the thing is, I sit in the sun, and as it goes over, it's on the front, and as it comes around, it's on the back. So that's where I've been today. That's where I've got this. I'm sitting on the front with my tablet, editing. I've got the headphones. So, and we get a lot of tourists as well. But people walk past and they ask me what I'm doing. So I tell them. They've made the initial, and then that's it. Out come the books, and sometimes they go off with them, sometimes they don't.
I love that. Oh my
Why
goodness.
not?
Why not? Why not? That's a great way too. You're meeting people in person, and that's another way to like. It's still kind of hard to meet authors in person now. You know, things go back and forth with rules and if they can host events, and so it's really cool that you can just be where you are, and there are tourists and new people walking by all the time that you can meet, and they can hear about your books.
Yeah, I'm sure Beth has found the same, but so many people have said to me, "An author's talking to me."
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm still like that. Like after I finish interviews, I'm like, wow, I just spoke to this author. I love it. I don't think it ever gets old. That's a fun thing. Like just hearing the perspectives from everybody and reading their work. It's just such a fun mix. Like I never get enough of it. I think the last trend that I wanted to ask you guys about is a little more. It's a little off topic ish, but it's more based on Beth's book and the world. Like so in the back of Beth's Earth Angels book, you have that list of how you can be an Earth Angel, like all the wonderful ideas about good things you can do to help our Earth and be good to it. And I'm a huge fan of watching David Attenborough anything. So like it's a little scary now to hear the things like we have to do this now or else our world is in trouble. So your list is fantastic. So what I was wondering, if either of you have come across anything, new trends in just, good ways to take care of the world, like, that you would want to add to the back of your book since it's been published, or just something you found interesting and whether it relates to book world, conservation or just regular good things for the world.
Do you know, I recently watched a documentary, and it was called Fantastic Fungi. So it's all about different types of mushrooms and fungus and all this sort of stuff. It blew this, honestly, you need to watch this documentary. It blew my mind. The healing properties with so many of these mushrooms, and there's also a type of mushroom that actually eats, like dissolves and breaks down and eats oil, and spillages and stuff like that. And I was absolutely blown away by this documentary, and how amazing fungi is. My sister actually bought me the book because I was just gushing about this documentary. So yeah, I think eventually I will update and put some more in with regards to plants that actually can save the world. You can put these mushrooms on a garbage patch and they'll break it all down so quickly, but it makes me think, well, why aren't we already doing it? Why is it not happening already? It blows my mind, I've got to tell you. There are so many things, and I think, why are we not doing this now?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
For me, mine would be how we treat one another as well. While ever we're still bringing ourselves down, they're not going to stop to think about what they're going to do with anything else because they're too busy bringing ourselves down. My books, a lot of them are about how we're judging one another and how we should be more accepting and that sort of thing. That comes over in my stories. Things are not always as they seem, and you don't know each other's stories.
And that makes a big difference too, and just taking care of the world. I mean, that's such a good point. We have to take care of each other and where we live. Like it's I think that's a perfect combination of information.
I try to be moral when I write about it, even though they're not. One lady the other day put a review on and she called my story compassionate. And that's what I really, that was nice. Minor romance, whatever else I write in them, minor romance and love, and that's it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, there's a couple of things that many authors forget to do in the back of their books. And that is, and it helps themselves as well, is one, ask the reader to leave a review. you know, because a lot of people won't think to do something unless you prompt them politely. And so I always say to my clients, you know, whenever you're doing a new book, always put in the back, would you mind leaving me a review? Because it would be much appreciated. And also, and I know Josephine does this, and it's a really good thing, is to either put an excerpt of the following book, or of the one you've got coming out, you know, to give them a little preview, a little tease, because that helps, you know, the author and the reader as well. But I must admit, there aren't many authors out there that I've read that have, you know, put anything really mindful in the back. It's normally, you know, definitions of new words that they've invented, or, you know, terminologies that they want to familiarize you with, or, you know, a map or something like that, which is all very, very cool. Don't get me wrong, it's all very, very cool. But yeah, I must admit, when I did the tips on how to be green, I was a bit worried, you know, because I didn't want to come across as preachy.
Fine, it's great.
Oh, I loved it.
You will be green.
I do a bit with my dedications. I tend to dedicate it as normal people would, but in a couple I have actually dedicated it to my readers, because without them we wouldn't have what would we be writing for, just ourselves. But yeah, no, I do, yeah.
I think, you know, that's a really good
put it into words when it's your own.
Yeah. And I mean, that end of the book space probably has so many more possibilities than most people think about. And I loved your end of the book, you know, what you could do to be an earth angel didn't feel preachy to me. I think like it really solidified the passion that you had behind the book of, you know, this is a big message from it that I really want to, you know, authors can help the world with their words. They really can. When people get into a book and it means something else, you know, like Josephine's review about, you know, the compassion that they felt from the book, that changes somebody's life. You know, that sticks with them. And then your message of, you know, how you can help the world, and having it all accessible and make you think, like, even you were talking about the type of cat litter. I remember, I'm like, I didn't even realize they made a better cat litter. Like, and I immediately started buying something else. And just to have it all accessible in there and things you don't think about, I think that could be a new trend in the book world of people too, like start thinking about what they can do in the back. And even you saying about leaving a review, it might help more people who don't even know about reviews to do it, which is cool.
Absolutely.
And information about reviews. I recently spoke with somebody and I was pulling my hair out because I was reading a review, and somebody gave an author a 1-star review, and they wrote they did it because they thought people only looked at 1-star reviews. And so, but they loved the book. They would have given it a 5. So I think there's still a lot of like conversation that has to come up about how reviews work, you know, what they do, and to leave them for people who still don't know, you know. So I think even the back of the book idea open to so many different possibilities, mentioning leaving a review, maybe even tips, just like, what was your favorite thing? Leave a review, you know, just so they have something to grab onto. That's a really good idea too. So I really wanted to say I appreciate your time and getting to speak with both of you again, and just the amazing chat we got to have today. Like, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. And just quickly, I just want to say, it's important for authors not to forget that they can update their ebooks at any time. So if they've got a big event months in advance coming up, or, you know, they're going to be doing a big giveaway in months to come, they can actually update their ebook to mention that at the back of their book to let authors know. So you can edit and upload and update your ebook anytime you want.
That's exactly what I'm doing at the moment with my editing. I'm not taking them off, I'm just updating them.
Exactly. So if you've got something coming up that you want new readers to know about, that's where to put it. And anytime you do update your ebook, people who have already got it on their Kindle or device will get a notification to say that it's been updated. So it also reminds them that your book is on their device.
Oh, okay. I love all of this information that we've gotten to find out today. This is amazing. Where can people follow you? Do you have any updated links or, sites that you want to mention where everybody can find you after this interview if they're not already following?
I think Josephine and I both have Linktree links on our profiles, if I remember correctly. So if you go
mine are universal links.
I think, oh yes, I think there might be actually, but we both have links on all of our profiles because we're both everywhere. And so yeah, follow us by any means. That would be absolutely fabulous. And
the Sisterhood of Traveling Books.
And the Sisterhood of Traveling Books.
I'll put as many of your links in the description of the video below too. I'll go through and find them. I love that you have Linktree. That's something new I'm seeing all over the place now too, which is
I've been looking into it this last week, but I haven't done anything with it yet. Somebody mentioned it last week to me. I've been too busy editing anyway.
It's great. Linktree is free. You can pay for a more advanced service, but you can get it free, and you can just put up, I think it's maybe 6 or 7 of your links all on that one page for Linktree. So it's just an easier option. It's easier to share for people, and they can just follow whichever ones they want there. And it's brilliant.
Okay, that makes sense. I put myself on Romancer.io, which is another platform similar to Goodreads, but I don't think it's much of a forum where you can chat. It's reviews and books.
Yeah.
And books that are similar. I liked that. Books that are similar like this one, and you can click it and it brings loads up, which is good.
Yeah, that's all.
Perfect. Oh, great. Oh, thank you again so much. This has just been so great.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Heather. And thank Gemma too.